phone.
गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गनर शॉट। गनर शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। कल जब हमने आपके बारे में विश्व बंधु के बारे में बात किया एंड ऑल दैट, उस वक्त मेरे को क्या लाया कि दुनिया में बहुत कुछ हो रहा है और साथ साथ हो रहा है। सो दैट्स व्हाई आई थॉट वी शुड टॉक अबाउट टर्मोइल अनलिमिटेड। I'm going to cover a wide range of subjects. Have the patience to go through with it, even if it's a little long. And tomorrow I'll chop this up and put it in small bits. That's one. The second is you would have questions, a lot of questions. So when you ask a question, just type what you want to talk of, the heading, and then put your question, so that I know what to answer and what I'll pick and choose, and I have patience. We'll go through with the whole thing. Right. So let's start the whole story first. Okay. First and foremost, let's talk of the wider implications of the India-Canada SPAT. सबको पता है क्या कहानी हुआ है, पर इसका बड़ा परिणाम क्या है, बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या है, बड़ा मुद्दा क्या है, उसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा विश्लेषण करूंगा। राइट। और सबसे पहले ये देखिए, ये मैंने किसी ने ट्विटर में डाला और मैंने उठा के आपको दिखाया। जस्टिन ट्रूडो को कुंडली में शनि का 7.5 है। जरूर 7.5 है, क्योंकि उसका दिमाग फिर गया है, इसीलिए ऐसे ऐसे बहकी बहकी काम कर रहा है। ओके, चलो जो भी है, लेट्स गो ओवर द सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स एंड हाउ द होल थिंग इज evolved, because that will put everything in picture. क्योंकि बड़ा पिक्चर समझना इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो ये फरवरी 2018 में शुरू हुआ, when he came here to India, और उसने साथ लेके आया है खालिस्तानी को भी, और उसको डिनर में वो बड़ा बावला मच गया। देन 2020 में ये अपना फॉर्मर प्रोटेस्ट जब हुआ था, उस वक्त भी इसने मुंह खोला। ठीक। फिर लास्ट ईयर तो 2023 वो हरदीप सिंह निज्जर का जब गैंगलैंड किलिंग हुआ था, इसने हमारे ऊपर तोप दिया। पर इसमें ना थोड़ा डिविएट करना चाहता हूं। याद रखिए, इसका बाप भी ऐसे ही था, ठीक है ना। और कनिष्का बॉम्बिंग में जब जो भी हुआ था, जो इन्होंने काम किया, सब कुछ इसका बाप ने किया था। राइट। एंड देन September 23, the trade negotiations also, they had a problem. And in October 23, we sent 41 diplomats out. हमने भेज दिया वापस। Okay, now comes the deviation, and तब तक क्या था, what was between India and Canada. फिर November 23 US came into the picture. उन्होंने क्या बोला, they indicted a few Indians in the Panun murder case. और April 24 में एक वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट का आर्टिकल निकला था, an assassination plot on American soil reveals a darker side of Modi's India. ये जो अभी आर्टिकल आया है वो नया नहीं है, वो पुराना है, ये पिछले साल भी आया था। ठीक है। सो इनफैक्ट नॉट पिछले साल, इसी साल शुरुआत में। ओके, May 24 इसी साल कनाडा में 3 लोग अरेस्ट हुए थे ये निज्जर केस में, और ये कहानी चलता रहा। अगर आपको याद है, सितंबर में जब प्रधानमंत्री हमारे यूएसए में गए, तो हमारा एनएसए नहीं गया उनके साथ। क्यों? कोई चेतावनी तो मिला होगा यूएसए के साथ। तो जब आप पूरा देखोगे, कुछ ना कुछ तो नीचे पानी बह रहा था, जो हमें नहीं पता है पब्लिक में, बट समथिंग वाज हैपनिंग। ओके, देन अभी ये पूरा बॉम्ब फटा है। ट्रूडो वेंट पब्लिक और उन्होंने 6 डिप्लोमेट को आउट कर दिया, हमने भी 6 डिप्लोमेट को आउट कर दिया, राइट। फिर ये जो पनून असैसिनेशन प्लॉट में इंडिया ने इतला दिया कि CC1 को अरेस्ट कर दिया और वो अभी गवर्नमेंट के नौकरी में है ही नहीं। फिर ये वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट का फिर आर्टिकल आया विच इम्प्लीकेटेड द होम मिनिस्टर। फिर उसके साथ साथ बॉम्ब थ्रेट भी आया है टू इंडियन एयरक्राफ्ट, कल 6 एयरक्राफ्ट के लिए, all over. So the things have become a little hot. Yeah, we know that. We know all this. Right. हमें भी ये पता है कि हमें करना क्या है। ऐसी बात नहीं है कि हमें पता नहीं है कि ट्रूडो और कनाडा के साथ करना क्या है, राइट। सो बट आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इन्वॉल्व कि वो उसका क्या है, ये है, वो है, ये मोटा मोटा है। तो क्यों कर रहा है ये? इसका खुद पॉलिटिकल सर्वाइवल के लिए। इज इट टू डिफ्लेक्ट फोकस फ्रॉम चाइना's इंटरफियरेंस? क्योंकि चाइना का हाथ भी बहुत है, चाइना का वहां पुलिस स्टेशन है, वो सब कुछ है। चाइना इज ऑल्सो इन्फ्लुएंसिंग लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स और उसके साथ कुछ कर नहीं पा रहा, तो ये इंडिया की तरफ मुड़ गया। क्या ये सोच रहा है कि इंडिया इज वीकर देन चाइना, तो मैं पंगा ले सकता हूँ? और उसका जितने ये खालिस्तानी दोस्त हैं वो इसके पार्टी को मदद कर रहे हैं। कनाडा का खुद इंटरेस्ट है क्या ये? या ये पॉइंट इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्या यूएस इनको प्रोत्साहन दे रहा है? इज यूएसए प्रोडिंग ट्रूडो? क्यों? मेरे हिसाब से कनाडा को हम निपट सकते हैं, राइट। यहां तक ये भी बोल सकते हैं, जैसे पाकिस्तान को हमने बोला स्टेट स्पॉन्सर ऑफ टेरर, वी कैन से इट्स अ state of concern for terror havens or something like that. We make it a little, because a lot of our children are studying there. We have a lot of links. We have expats and all that. But you have to put Canada in its place. The trade imbalance is all not much. And मेरे हिसाब से उनका अगर वीसा नहीं मिला तो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता हमें. We can do other things. But major issue है India-US relations are at stake. That's the point जो मैं आप सबको बताना चाहता हूँ, और that's I think is the larger issue. जैसे पाकिस्तान के साथ हमने तो बात करना बंद कर दिया, कनाडा का साथ भी कर लो, उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता। हालांकि USA has said no, like let's say this, US has urged India to take Canada allegation seriously. UK ने भी बोला है, पर उन्होंने सिर्फ बताया है, अभी तक एक्शन कुछ हुआ नहीं अभी तक। पर इसमें ही प्रॉब्लम है, हमारा प्रॉब्लम है ये, हमें देखना की जरूरत है। उसके साथ साथ क्या हुआ है, ये भी रिपोर्ट निकला आया है कि इंडिया इज रशियाज नंबर 2 सप्लायर ऑफ रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टेक्नोलॉजी, कि जो भी हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं रशिया को, it enables their maintenance and upgrading of their equipment. So ये सही है या नहीं है वो अलग बात है, ठीक है ना। पर ये बात यूएसए और वेस्ट के दिमाग में है कि हम यही नहीं कि उनको तेल खरीद रहे हैं, वी आर हेल्पिंग देम ऑल्सो, एंड दे डोंट वांट अस टू बी विद रशिया। इसमें तो डाउट ही नहीं है, अभी से नहीं, पिछले 3 साल से ये कहानी चल रहा है। बट बात यहां रुकती नहीं, बात बिल्कुल यहां नहीं रुकती। बात जो है नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, चाइना के साथ क्या हम अपने आप आत्मनिर्भर हो सकते हैं, या चाइना इन्वेस्टमेंट के बिना आत्मनिर्भर नहीं हो सकते? तो हमने जाके, कुछ तो बात हुआ है हमारे उद्योगपति हो या कुछ पॉलिटिशियंस हो या कुछ लीडर हो कि भाई चाइना से इन्वेस्टमेंट ले आओ। यहां तक हमारा इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर ने बात किया है और उसको एंडोर्स किया है फॉरेन अपना फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने। और उसके बाद हमारा डिफेंस मिनिस्टर का सॉरी एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर का रुख भी बदल गया थोड़ा बहुत, राइट। और इसके बारे में मैं बाद में विश्लेषण करूंगा। आई विल डू अ गुड एनालिसिस ऑन दिस, व्हाई वी शुडंट डू दिस थिंग, बट आई दैट्स द ट्रिगर आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट विद टुडे। ओके, यही नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ द स्टोरी। लुक एट दिस, रशिया डिफेंस चीफ हेल्स कॉमन अंडरस्टैंडिंग विद चाइना। तो द रशियन मिनिस्टर ऑफ डिफेंस वो गया था चाइना में और वहां उनका जप्पी पप्पी हो रहा है और उनका कोऑपरेशन बढ़ रहा है। तो इसमें अ, हमें प्रॉब्लम है क्योंकि हम रशिया के ऊपर निर्भर कर रहे हैं, वो तो वहां जाके उनके बाहों में बैठा हुआ है। तो हमारा क्या होगा? आप हमारा हालत देखिए, राइट। तो हम तो बनना चाहते हैं विश्व बंधु, पहले विश्व गुरु थे, अभी हम विश्व बंधु बनना चाहते हैं। ठीक, विश्व बंधु बनने में कोई नहीं है, पर हम हमारा प्रॉब्लम यह है कि हम यूएसए से भी विश्व बंधु तो करना चाहते हैं, रशिया के साथ भी वही कहानी है, चाइना के साथ भी वही कहानी है। एक्चुअली अगर आप देखा जाए तो वी वांट टू टेक आवर स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप फॉरवर्ड विद रशिया एंड यूएसए एंड वी वांट इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉम चाइना आल्सो। तो हमें सब कुछ चाहिए, ठीक। ये इससे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है हमें, अच्छी बात है अगर हम तीनों के साथ संतुलन के साथ हम प्रगति कर सकते हैं तो। पर बात यह है, उसके लिए आपको इंटरनल यूनिटी और इंटरनल शक्ति चाहिए। इफ यू डोंट हैव एकता, यू डोंट हैव स्ट्रेंथ विद इन, यू गोइंग नोवेयर। क्या वो है हमारे देश के अंदर आजकल? आप देख ही रहे हो, हाँ, यू जस्ट सी हाउ पॉलिटिक्स आर गोइंग, राइट। इज देयर मिलिट्री पावर अप टू मार्क? नो, यू आर नॉट एबल टू मॉडर्नाइज। मॉडर्नाइजेशन तो हो नहीं रहा जिस तरीके से होना चाहिए। क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? आपका बजट डाउन है, आपका आत्मनिर्भरता प्लान सब डिले हो रहे हैं, कोई वक्त पे नहीं चल रहा है, बाबूगिरी में लगे हुए हैं। और हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस के पास उतना वो क्षमता नहीं है कि सबको आगे बढ़ाओ। आपका इकोनॉमिक हेफ्ट उतना नहीं है कि आप तीनों के साथ विश्व बंधु बने रहो। ये बात हमें अच्छा समझ में आना चाहिए। जिस दिन हमारा, मेरा हिसाब से तकरीबन 7 या 8 ट्रिलियन का इकोनॉमी हो जाएगा, तब जाके आप विश्व बंधु सबके साथ बन सकते हो, आप वो ताकत आएगा। उसके लिए आपके पास 3-4 साल है। और उस वक्त तब जब रशिया या चाइना थोड़ा डाउन हो जाए, तब अगर वो भी आगे बढ़ गए तो आपको दिक्कत है। टेक्नोलॉजी आपको पूरा है ही नहीं, आप टेक्नोलॉजी में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हो जिस तरीके से चाहिए। बोलना बात अलग है, अभी तक देखिए ये आत्मनिर्भरता, मेक इन इंडिया वगैरह कितने दिन हो गया, एक ब्रेक थ्रू तो होना चाहिए कहीं ना कहीं। उसका नजर हमें कहीं आ नहीं रहा, अभी आ भी रहा है तो बड़ा लेट आ रहा है। क्या आपके पास वो डिप्लोमेटिक स्किल है इन सब चीजों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए? हाँ, हमारा एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर तो बहुत अच्छे हैं, इसमें मेरे को डाउट नहीं है, पर उसके आगे डू यू हैव द डिप्लोमेटिक स्टाफ ऑल्सो? आप सिर्फ फॉरेन सर्विस के ऊपर निर्भर हो? मिलिट्री डिप्लोमेसी आप इस्तेमाल नहीं करते हो, इकोनॉमिक डिप्लोमेसी आप कर नहीं रहे हो, बहुत तरीके की डिप्लोमेसी है। पर आप सोचो, अगर आपका ऑपोजिशन लीडर आपका प्रतिनिधि बन के अगर बाहर जाए, उसका क्या परिणाम होगा? उसके लिए आपको इंटरनल एकता चाहिए, वो तो हो नहीं रहा। ओके, तो उस हालत में हमें यह पता होना चाहिए कि हम सबके साथ दोस्त नहीं बने रख सकते, हम विश्व बंधु सबके साथ नहीं हो सकते। यू हैव टू चूज योर फ्रेंड्स। आप दोस्तों को चुनो, और हमें बड़ा क्लियर होना चाहिए आपका एडवर्सरी कौन है। इस अगर ये तीन मेजर पावर्स के साथ हमें निपटना है, तो इसमें तो डाउट ही नहीं है मेरे को। यूएसए के साथ रहना है, चाइना को साथ लेके जाना है, और सॉरी, यूएसए के साथ रहना है, रशिया को साथ लेके जाना है, और चाइना को दूर रखना है। हम चाइना के पीछे क्यों पड़े हैं? नेचुरली यूएसए विल गेट एंग्री, क्योंकि आप रशिया को भी छोड़ नहीं रहे हो और चाइना को बुला रहे हो। तो यूएसए को क्यों गुस्सा नहीं आएगा? वो भी तो खिलाड़ी है, तो वो खेल रहा है अभी, आपको फंसा लिया। और चाइना आपको आगे बढ़ने ही नहीं देगा, ये भी बड़ा क्लियर होना चाहिए हमें। चाइना जो भी बोले या ना बोले, चाइना विल नॉट लेट यू गो फार। yesterday only we discussed, कहीं एजिटेशन शुरू हो जाएगा। कम्युनिस्ट लोग बहुत है हमारे देश के अंदर जो जी जिनपिंग का जन्मदिन मनाते हैं। So there is a problem within us which we need to understand, and this balance, I think, we need to regain. Right? Oh, this is what I thought I must put across to all of you. As far as this India-Canada SPAT is concerned, yeah, we can always, restrict students going there, and you know, advisory they do, you don't go to Canada. You there, you put sanction, you put sanction. That all is minor. This is major. And this is something we have to understand. Okay. Two days back, PLA carried out punishment drills around Taiwan. Just for one day. They started in the morning, and by evening it was done, and they pulled out. But this was the biggest drill they've carried out in all the years. So let's see first why they carried it out. On 10th October, that was ताइवान का नेशनल डे है, वो बोलते हैं डबल 10th डे, 10th अक्टूबर, 10-10। और उस वक्त उनका जो नया प्रेसिडेंट लाई चिंगते ने उसने बोल दिया कि भाई हम चाइना के हिस्सा नहीं है, हम तो चाइना से पहले स्थापित हुए थे आरओसी, तो वी नॉट पार्ट ऑफ इट। ये तो पता था सबको कि ऐसे बोलेगा, और चाइना भी तैयार था। उन्होंने तुरंत 2 दिन के बाद उनका पीएलए का ड्रिल्स शुरू कर दिया। ओके, सो व्हाट डिड दे डू? सो दे नेम्ड इट जॉइंट स्वॉर्ड 2024B. The joint sword 2024A was done immediately in February, March, when Lai Ching-te was sworn in as president. Immediately after that, ये second time है। और उन्होंने ये जो स्लाइड आपको दिखा रहा हूं, उसमें तो ये दिया हुआ है कि दिस इज द 3 colors are there. The first is when the dark, sorry, not dark, the pinkish one is when Nancy Pelosi जब आई थी, 2022 में, तब इन्होंने पहली बार किया था, उन्होंने उस वक्त फायरिंग वगैरह किया था। उसके बाद दोबारा उन्होंने किया अगले साल 2023 में। 24 के शुरुआत में उन्होंने किया था जॉइंट स्वॉर्ड 2024 ए, और वो है ये जो डार्क कलर में जो दर्शाया गया है, और अभी जो है वो पर्पल कलर में जो है वो दर्शाया गया। तकरीबन उन्होंने उतना ही किया, बट इफ यू सी थोड़ा शिफ्ट हुए हैं इनमें। नाउ व्हाई दे आर शिफ्टिंग? So they've done this, they call it naval blockade, और ये 4 बार हो चुका है। Now they're very clear about how to go about the whole business. हाँ, बात यह है कि they have not been able to, they have not put their foot in water. And after the first time, they have not fired. डरा दिया, धमका दिया, सब कुछ, but they're not firing of missiles and all that. That will be too much of an escalation. But this is significant. What we can infer from this is China is pretty clear as to how to do the blockade. But is it clear of attacking? Difficult to say. मेरे हिसाब से नहीं. Okay, let's take it a little forward. How many people were there? There were 17 PLN vessels and 17 Coast Guard vessels. Okay, ये पहली बार है कि इन्होंने इतना 34 नेवल शिप्स पीएलए नेवी प्लस कोस्ट गार्ड इन्होंने डिप्लॉय किया है। पिछले बार तकरीबन टोटल मिला के 10-12 थे। They even put an aircraft carrier group and they flew aircraft out of it, and they flew approximately 153 PLA aircraft, and they put a video out, and that's something which I want to show you, because ये जो वीडियो है कुछ बताता है कि भाई हो क्या रहा है वहां। तो जॉइंट स्वॉर्ड आकर उन्होंने दिखाया। नाउ interestingly, they've shown the entire range of capabilities of PLA-RF or PLA in terms of aircraft carriers, destroyers, naval frigates, everything, even bombers, heavy bombers, right? If you noticed. Otherwise, have a look at it after this video is finished. They've also shown animated, ground forces and rocket forces being deployed along the coast. So they prepared to use force and ये सबको डरा रहे हैं, धमका रहे हैं. Okay. Not only that, right? Next, this is the first time this is the aircraft carrier they flew at night, and they're showing off their night fighting capabilities. Have a look at this. Right. So this is a complete exercise where they have put this out wantedly. Complete information warfare campaign चल रहा है China का. Right? And it is all psychological, it is all part of cognitive warfare. Okay. What next? Yeah, next is very interesting. Okay. Right. Yeah. Now, this clip is very interesting. Look, in the foreground, जो आप देख सकते हो, that's a Taiwanese Coast Guard ship. जो पीछे जो बड़ा शिप है, वो है एक चाइना का कोस्ट गार्ड शिप. और ये हाल ही में निकला है, आज ही निकला है ये. इसमें ये छोटा सा शिप जो है ना, बड़ा शिप को भगा रहा है. तो कहने के मतलब ये है, इट्स नॉट द साइज ऑफ द डॉग विच मैटर्स, बट द फाइट इन द डॉग दैट मैटर्स. कुत्ता छोटा हो सकता है, क्या बड़ा भौंक सकता है, शेर बन सकता है. मेरे ख्याल में ये पिक्चर देखने के बाद कुछ तो हौसला इन ताइवान हुआ होगा.
中国海警14517，中国海警14517，这里是中华民国海巡署 PT3538 警广播。你已违反台湾地区与大陆地区人民关系条例进入我国限制水域，你的行动已影响我国海域秩序及安全，请立即转向，尽速离开我限制水域，否则我船将依法采取必要行动。
中国海警14602，中国海警14509，这里是中华民国海巡署 PTO 中东巴拉警广播。你违反台湾地区与大陆地区人民关系条例进入我国限制水域，你的行动已影响我国海域秩序及安全，请立即转向，尽速驶离我国限制水域，否则我船将依法采取必要行动。
तो बात देखिए कि in this what you see is that the Taiwanese are quite confidently handling the Chinese bigger vessels. ठीक है ना? So that's why I said it's not the size of the dog, it's the fight in the dog which matters. So we have to take it from that point of view. Okay? So it's not as if whatever China does is going to be a cakewalk. ये नहीं हो सकता कि अगर चाइना सोचे कि ताइवान को कल हड़प ले, होगा नहीं होगा. Right. इसके साथ साथ एक और चीज हुआ है, वो ये है कि ये जो इंसिडेंट तो हो गया है और एक्शन भी हो गया है, और ये निकला है जापान से. ये जो योनिगुनी आइलैंड है इसके अंदर, विच इज नंबर 3 के नीचे जो है, दैट इज अ जापानीज आइलैंड. और सेनकाकू भी जापानीज आइलैंड. सो नाउ द interrelationship between Taiwan and Japan comes out in this. So whatever happens against Taiwan, वो जापान को खींच लेगा कल के दिन. तो ताइवान के साथ अगर लड़ाई हो गया तो जापान भी आ जाएगा पीछे. So that puts China in a position. और आगे देखेंगे, because today मैं साउथ कोरिया नॉर्थ कोरिया को भी लेके आया हूं, लास्ट में आपके साथ बात करूंगा. So there is a thing which, though China has done what it has done, there are issues. Nothing is settled. China घूम सकता है ताइवान की तरफ, but it has not dared in the past 3 years to put its foot in the water. It's not ready. और अगर आपको इसके ऊपर डाउट है तो have a look at the video which I did with Rajiv Narayanan, and where we have explained कि PLA के लिए कितना मुश्किल होगा to, do what it has to do. Okay, so this is something which is very important. One has to understand. Okay, now you will say, look, PLA has got this, ये दो वो सब, हमारा क्या हाल है भाई? ये भी देखो, ये हमारा है, अगर आप देखो तो हमारा कैरियर है ये. Okay, right. Right? So, when people say, when will our Navy be big enough to handle PLA? We are already big enough. Remember, PLA suffers from the tyranny of distance. We will fight in our waters. PLA has to come from their waters, the PLA Navy, and fight here. After traversing 3,000-4,000 kilometers without a base, it's going to be a very tough ask. That's why China cannot come out of the first island chain at this point of time. To come out of the first island chain, there are many more things China has to do. So till then, China is actually militarily weak, the way I look at it. Okay. Okay, well, now let me talk about China's stimulus, because this is connected with the previous one. Economy, if you don't have an economy going, how are you going to, build up your Navy, Air Force, Army, whatever you want to do? And if you build it up and you put money into it, it's dead money, because now China is at a stage where it has to decide where to put its money. Earlier, उसके पास बहुत पैसा था, जहां मर्जी लगा लो, तो फौज को बढ़ा दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, पर वो मुश्किल है. अगर वो जी जिनपिंग एंड कंपनी बिना सोचे कुछ करे तो वो आउट हो जाएंगे. Let's talk of China's stimulus, which is actually catching all of us and making us think. Okay, आज ये आर्टिकल निकला है where one of the top economists says, भाई ये जो 4 ट्रिलियन यूएन का जो स्टिमुलस आप देने जा रहे हो, वो इनफ नहीं है. You have to go to actually 1.4 trillion US dollars. 1.4 US dollars trillion is something like कि तकरीबन 10-11 ट्रिलियन यूएन. ओके, तो यही बोल रहा है कि 4 ट्रिलियन आप दे रहे हो, पहले दो, अभी बोल रहे हैं दो. ये इट्स नॉट इनफ. It's just not enough. Okay, and then this article came out yesterday, and it's a very intriguing article. If you understand with this and what they did in the PLA drills, the mood in China. What do they say? Isme, how big is Beijing's war chest, and why does a headline stimulus figure remain elusive? ये बोल नहीं रहे हैं चाइना वाले कि इतना स्टिमुलस करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. पक्का नहीं बोल रहे हैं, कुछ अनाप शनाप बोल रहे हैं अभी तक. क्यों? अगर आप सोचो, there are few issues, and if you don't understand these issues, then you'll think his economy will revive. See, the point is this: जब तक ये स्टिमुलस ना दे, इसका इकोनॉमी बढ़ेगा नहीं. और ये स्टिमुलस आज के दिन दे नहीं सकता. लोगों का मोरल डाउन है, कॉन्फिडेंस डाउन है. जैसे हमने 3 दिन पहले वो असेसमेंट में बताया, ओवरऑल मूड पेसिमिज्म का है. बट स्पेसिफिकली व्हाई ही कांट गिव स्टिमुलस, मैंने सोचा, और बात यह है कि पैंडेमिक के बाद इसका इकोनॉमी चला नहीं. ओके, ही इज इन्वेस्टेड इन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, उसमें रिटर्न ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट हो नहीं रहा. और जितना भी अभी तक स्टिमुलस है वो इन्वेस्टमेंट में जा रहा है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में जा रहा है. अगर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में ऑलरेडी रिटर्न ऑफ रिटर्न्स नहीं है, दोबारा डाल के क्या करेगा? प्रॉपर्टी बढ़ नहीं रहा. There are 80 million houses in China vacant. अगर ये पूरा इसमें जो भी कवर आ रहा है अगर गिन भी लो तो हो सकता है कि ठीक है, मान लो इनका 20, 30, 40 हजार फ्लैट बिक गए। 80 मिलियन फ्लैट के साथ क्या करेंगे ये खाली, और कुछ बने नहीं, जिसके पैसे खा गए ये सब। लोगों का पैसा वहीं फंसा पड़ा है, ठीक है ना। ओके, हाउस होल्ड्स, प्रोविंसेस, सिटीज और पूरा स्टेट सब कर्ज में डूबे हुए हैं। सब पूछते हैं भाई सब कर्ज में डूबे हैं तो पैसा कहां से आ रहा है। ये आप सोचिए, चाइना में लोग खर्च नहीं करते क्योंकि वो पैसा जाके बैंक में डालते हैं। ओके, so if you put money in the bank, what does the bank do? The bank gives money to the government, and the government will spend. So, and if the return of investment is not there from the government, it's okay. गवर्नमेंट को क्या फर्क पड़ता है, लोगों का पैसा तो है, लोगों को बोल रहे हैं कि भाई हम देंगे आपको, पर एक्चुअली पैसा मिल नहीं रहा लोगों को, और लोग निकालने भी नहीं चाहते हैं क्योंकि निकाल दिया तो उनका सेविंग खत्म। क्योंकि whatever they have put, people have put in property has gone. It's gone by 30-40% down. Very few people are involved in share markets in China, stocks and all that. So stocks वैसे भी down है। So people are getting poorer. Okay, कर्ज में है वो। अगर वो कर्ज वाले आदमी को आप स्टिमुलस दे दोगे तो क्या करेगा वो। अगर मैं होता, मेरा ये आप कर्ज चुकाओ, पैसा लो, बैंक को दे दो दोबारा और कर्ज मिटा दो और मैं खुश। तो फायदा क्या हुआ, वो पैसा अगर गवर्नमेंट ने एक हाथ से लिया और वापस उस दूसरे हाथ में उनको वापस आ जाएगा, क्या करेंगे वो, राइट। कर्ज और बढ़ेगा, उसका परिणाम कुछ नहीं होगा क्योंकि पीपल आर स्कैर्ड इन चाइना। ओके, so there's a big problem। और बात यह है कि वो एजिंग भी हो रहा है, डेमोग्राफिक डिक्लाइन भी हो रहा है। अगर मैं हूं, मेरा माता पिता और मेरे वाइफ का माता पिता भी मेरे सर पे वो सवार हैं और उनको देखभाल करना है, तो मैं क्यों खर्च करूंगा यार। मैं तो टीवी थोड़ी ना करूंगा, मैं तो वॉकर लूंगा उनको देने के लिए। सो देयर इज अ ह्यूज मिसमैच। और ये बात मेरे ख्याल में बहुत लोगों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, और चाइना में पता है सबको। ऐसी बात नहीं कि चाइना में नहीं पता, चाइना में सबको पता है ये, इसीलिए वो भी डर रहे हैं। अगर स्टिमुलस ज्यादा दे दिया, इकोनॉमी ओवरहीट हो जाएगा, दोबारा बबल शुरू हो जाएगा और फटेगा। अब की बार फटेगा तो गया काम से। अच्छा, स्टिमुलस दे दो, सब कुछ दे दो, तो आपका जो सामान है वो कौन खरीदेगा। सबके साथ तो आपने लड़ लिया। पिछले 30 साल यू हैड टेल विंड्स, एवरीवन वांटेड यू टू ग्रो। अब वो नहीं हो रहा है, वो तो पीछे हट गए सारे। सब ईवी, ये भी, वो क्या, वो टैरिफ्स वगैरह लगा रहे हैं। अगर आप सितंबर के आंकड़े देखेंगे तो इंपोर्ट्स भी डाउन है इनके। इंपोर्ट्स चल रहे हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं कि इंपोर्ट्स नहीं है, बट ओवरऑल डाउन है और उनके रेट्स डाउन है। ऊपर अंदर जान के देखे, वेतन कम हो गया लोगों का। नए ग्रेजुएट्स को पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है, नौकरी नहीं मिल रहा है। तो अगर आप ये सब देखोगे तो लोगों के पास खरीदने का शक्ति नहीं है। और बहुत कुछ जो है ना, एवरीथिंग लॉट गोज ऑन कॉन्फिडेंस। कॉन्फिडेंस ही नहीं है तो मैं क्यों खर्च करूं। ओके, पॉलिटिकली जी जिनपिंग इज नॉट इन अ स्ट्रांग पोजीशन। वो आजकल अगले पिछले 2 महीने से देखो तो यही हो रहा है, कभी गायब हो जाता है, कभी वो कुछ बोलता है, कुछ और होता है। कल जो जनरल राजीव नारायणन के साथ हमने बात किया परसों, ही इज नॉट स्ट्रांग। और एक और चीज है, जी जिनपिंग इज अ कट्टर कम्युनिस्ट, वो क्या है, लोगों को पैसा देना नहीं चाहता। वो ही वांट्स पब्लिक सेक्टर अंडरटेकिंग्स को बढ़ाना, उनको बढ़ाओ, सिर्फ लोगों के पास उतना ही पैसा होना चाहिए जो वो कंट्रोल में है। लोगों के पास अगर पैसा ज्यादा आ गया तो वो कंट्रोल में नहीं जाएंगे, रहेंगे। जब इसने सत्ता संभाला है उस वक्त ये हालत था कि लोगों के पास ज्यादा पैसा बढ़ रहा था, तो चाइना वाज गोइंग आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल आउट ऑफ द सीसीपी। ही केम एंड he's actually finished off the private sector almost। उससे ये हालत हुआ है। अगर उसी पुराना हालत में ही चाइना को लेके जाना है तो फिर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, सीसीपी विल नॉट बी हैविंग पावर, तो स्टिमुलस तो बहुत दूर की बात है। सो दे आर इन अ ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम। कुछ लोग बोल रहे हैं कि बस स्टिमुलस दो, अभी खुल के बोल रहे हैं, आपने देखा है। ये पहले बंदा नहीं है जो मैंने दिखाया, उनका टॉप इकोनॉमिस्ट, ऐसे 4-5 टॉप इकोनॉमिस्ट ने ऑलरेडी बोल दिया। सो देयर इज नो कॉन्फिडेंस इन द होल सिस्टम। तो आकर मेरे हिसाब से चाइना एक अमीर देश है जिसमें लोग गरीब हैं। तो अगर हम सोचते हैं कि ऐसे देश जाके कल के दिन ताइवान के साथ लड़ लेगा या इंडिया के साथ लड़ लेगा या किसी के साथ लड़ लेगा, तो हमारा फहमी थोड़ा गलत है। आई डोंट थिंक इट विल हैपन, दैट्स माय व्यू। आई कैन आर्ग्यू इट आउट टू एनीवन। ये बड़ा लड़ाई नहीं कर सकता, छोटा मोटा लड़ाई हो सकता है। जिसके बारे में मेरे को डर है वही है, क्या हमारे अंदर वो शक्ति है कि whenever that happens you are able to forestall it? Can you do a pro quid quo? I put that video out, the coming war with China. I'm going to put it out tomorrow again. Have a look at it in the light of what I've said today. Right? These are important things. Okay. Now, don't believe me. This fellow is Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio has been bullish on China. ये चाइना का में ज्यादा काफी इन्वेस्ट करता था। अभी इसका व्याख्या देखिए क्या बोल रहा है ये।
I think that there are real issues in China now, and they changed really in the last 4 years. And that is that they need a restructuring. A lot of the spending, well, let's say, individuals, 70% of their money was in real estate. Real estate has gone down. Stocks have gone down. Salaries have gone down. And so, and as a result, they're not spending and they're concerned and they're holding money in cash.
So, see what he says. People's stocks have gone down, real estate has gone down, people are holding in cash. They don't want to spend. He has, spent his lifetime. If you want to hear it again. See what he says. And Ray Dalio is one of the biggest investors in China. Okay?
I think that there are real issues in China now, and they changed really in the last 4 years. And that is that they need a restructuring. A lot of the spending, well, let's say, individuals, 70% of their money was in real estate. Real estate has gone down. Stocks have gone down. Salaries have gone down. And so, and as a result, they're not spending and they're concerned and they're holding money in cash.
So that's the status of China today, right? So when we talk of China, we should be very careful and calibrated. What are we doing? Why did I show you this? Do you need investment from China? अगर आपको investment China से आता है, तो will you not be reviving his economy? Is there a case for us to get investment from somewhere else? Wherever. Okay. So there's something wrong with the way we think when we talk of investment from China. Okay? दुश्मन अगर दबा हुआ है तो उसको दबा के रखो. That's the way I look at it. Okay? Right. Let's go ahead.
Think that they're
ये देखिए, ये श्रीलंका में आज तक मैंने ये ऐसा व्याख्या नहीं सुना. Hundreds of Chinese men arrested over online scams in Sri Lanka. ये क्या पहले श्रीलंका में ऑनलाइन स्कैम्स नहीं होते थे? चाइना वाला नहीं करते थे कि आज हो रहा है? अगर आज श्रीलंका कर रहा है, मालदीव्स बोल रहा है कि भाई मैं भारत के पास जाऊंगा, कल ये बांग्लादेशी भी आएगा ढोल बजाते हुए कि मेरे को भी ले लो. तो वी हैव टू थिंक. जब से मैंने चाइना का एनालिसिस शुरू किया आज तक पहली बार ऐसे कवर एक फ्रॉम साउथ चाइना मॉर्निंग पोस्ट में देख रहा हूं. एक संकेत है ये कि चाइना का हाल क्या है. कोई पहले चाइना के बंदे को टच नहीं कर सकता था, हम भी नहीं कर सकते थे. पिछले साल तो हमने बहुत लोग वीवो शीवो इन सब लोगों का बंद कर दिया, अकाउंट जब्त कर लिया, सब कुछ. पर अब श्रीलंका भी कर रहा है. बात ये है, ये बात समझने वाली बात है. ओके, राइट, लेट्स गो अहेड. सो दिस इज व्हाट ऑल चाइना इज ऑल अबाउट. अब आते हैं एससीओ मीट पाकिस्तान में, जो आज हुआ, खत्म हो गया. हमारा विदेश मंत्री आ गए वापस. ये मेरे हिसाब से एक सेकंड ग्रेड एससीओ मीट था, where no one was there, no head of state was there, neither from China, now from Russia, now from India. और वैसे शाहबाज शरीफ तो he is not a head of state also, वो तो असली बंदा तो असीम मुनीर पीछे बैठा है, right? But you know, इसके बारे में तो खबर आएगा. इसमें कुछ खास हुआ नहीं, ना खास डिसीजन हुआ, कुछ नहीं है. But there are certain things which I would like to put across to all of you, which is important. That's why I brought this in. Okay? ये देखो, डॉन का हेडलाइन है ये, है कहता है पीएम शहबाज सेट टू चेयर एससीओ लीडर्स मूट टुडे. वो खुद स्पेलिंग गलत है उनका, मीट नहीं है, मूट है. ये उनका है भाई, आप देख लीजिए. उनका ही मोरल इतना डाउन है कि वो मूड. एंड डॉन इज सपोज्ड टू बी देयर बेस्ट न्यूज़पेपर. ओके, एंड दैट्स व्हाट देयर थिंग इज. आई थॉट इट वाज रॉन्ग, दे विल करेक्ट इट. वो एक घंटे के वो छोड़ दिया, वो एक घंटे के बाद देगा तो मैंने कहा लेट मी शो इट टू एवरीवन. इनका हालत देखो क्या है. नेक्स्ट, ये प्रीमियर ली चैंग, जो चाइना का प्रीमियर, और शहबाज शरीफ दोनों ने ग्वादर एयरपोर्ट को इनॉग्रेट किया. ग्वादर एयरपोर्ट नहीं गए ये जहां भी ये एससीओ मीट हो रहा था वहां बैठ के वीडियो में कर दिया इन्होंने ऑनलाइन. डर है इनको वहां जाने के लिए. और उस एयरपोर्ट में जाएगा कौन? तो जैसे हम्बनटोटा के पास एक एयरपोर्ट है, उसी तरीके से एक ये भी एयरपोर्ट बन गया उधर, जिसमें ना बिजली होगा, ना पानी होगा, ना तेल होगा, और कोई इस्तेमाल नहीं करेगा. वहां कोई कारोबार नहीं हो रहा है. पर पाकिस्तान के सर पे कर्ज होगा. का हालत देखो. अभी तो ये बात हो रहा है कि चाइना के सिक्योरिटी सिस्टम, प्राइवेट चाइनीज कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स विल कम एंड गार्ड सीपीसी. इनफैक्ट ऑलमोस्ट तय हो गया. ये तो औपचारिकता है दैट यू नो people will come and do this. What will happen? The inner cordon will be, you know, close security will be by Chinese, and the outer cordon will be by Pakistanis. क्योंकि इनका विश्वास उठ गया चाइना वालों का पाकिस्तान के ऊपर. पर फिर तो कुछ दिन की बात है. ये चाइना वाले कौन से घास काटने वाले हैं? इनके जो प्राइवेट मर्सनरी आएंगे वो तो बाहर से लेके आएंगे, चाइना वाला कोई नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि वो तो चाइना में वाला जाके पाकिस्तान में लड़ेगा क्या? एक दो बार ये ठुक जाएंगे, सब फिट हो जाएगा। तो इट्स गोइंग टू बी इंटरेस्टिंग डेज अहेड। ओके, what is the Pak China joint statement? This was given one day before the SCO meet. The two sides reaffirmed the importance of maintaining peace and stability in South Asia and the need for resolution of all outstanding disputes and their opposition to any unilateral action that is against India. Okay? The Pakistani side briefed the Chinese side on the latest developments of the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, खास करके. The Chinese side reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir dispute is leftover from history, क्योंकि उनका भी हिस्सा है इसमें, and should be properly and peacefully resolved in accordance with the UN Charter, relevant UN Security Council resolutions and bilateral arrangements. तो ये प्लान बना रहे हैं, षड्यंत्र बना रहे हैं कि इंडिया के अगेंस्ट कैसे बोला जाए। क्या स्टेटमेंट उन्होंने जॉइंट दे दिया। और ऐसे चाइना के साथ आप इन्वेस्टमेंट ले लो, ये तो प्लान बना रहे हैं कि CPC2 बनेगा, ये ख्वाब है, वो अलग बात है, क्या मुंगेरी लाल का हसीन सपने। बट दैट्स नॉट द पॉइंट। द पॉइंट इज, क्या हम पागल हो गए हैं कि इनका इन्वेस्टमेंट लेके आए? So the mood is anti-India. Let's be very clear. Okay, that's what our external affairs minister, I think, very appropriate statement उन्होंने बोला, development and growth requires peace and stability. If activities across the border are characterized by terrorism, extremism, and separatism, they are hardly like to encourage trade, energy flows, connectivity, and people-to-people exchanges. Very clear, very concise statement. मैं बोले भाई अपना हद में रहो, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है। And he went, गए, कल रिसेप्शन था, आज मीट अटेंड किया, 4 बजे प्लेन में बैठे वापस। ये सब कहानी कि कोई बातचीत होगा, वार्तालाप होगा, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस होगा, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के जरिए कुछ होगा, यहां से भी कुछ गए वहां दे कवर करने के लिए, डोल बजाते हुए जर्नलिस्ट, कुछ नहीं हुआ। सिंपल, स्ट्रेट। एंड आई थिंक दैट्स द बेस्ट वे टू हैंडल पाकिस्तान, राइट? एंड दिस एंटायर SCO मीट, इसमें कुछ रेजोल्यूशन तो है ही नहीं, कुछ नहीं हुआ, सिर्फ एक औपचारिकता था कि पाकिस्तान में हो गया, टिक लगा दो। एंड पाकिस्तान ने बहुत मुश्किलात के साथ इन्होंने ये कंडक्टेड इट, right? And but that also is not important to me. This is what happened, and this is something you have to see to understand. When I saw it, that's when I understood. अब देखिए ये लेफ्ट में जो दृश्य है, लोग खचाखच भरे हुए हैं पश्तून में। 3 दिन के लिए जिरगा हुआ था PTM का, राइट? Pashtun Tahfuz movement. Now, this is जो भी लिखा है, this is a comment from today's opinion in Dawn by Zahid Hussain. He says what made the assembly significant was the wide-ranging participation. बहुत लोग आए थे, ऐसे लग रहा था जितने पश्तून हैं वहां सब यहाँ इकट्ठे हो गए, from rights group to the leaders of almost all major political parties. Again, so there's a political thing going on. और ये जो जिरगा हुआ था 3 दिन के लिए, इसमें TTP ने भी इनको शय दे दिया। इन्होंने बोला कि भी आप करो, हम अगले 4 दिन हम ऑपरेशन नहीं करेंगे। इसीलिए पिछले 3 दिन कोई किलिंग विलिंग इस इलाके में नहीं हुआ। वो बलूच वाले ने ठोक दिया 2 बंदों को, अलग बात है। ओके, the gathering took place at a time when the province has been hit by another wave of terrorism. It's very significant. Administrative control appears to have completely failed in some districts with the return of armed militants. So, the entire area is out of control and Pakistan army is not able to do anything about it. ये बोल रहे हैं आज़मी इस्तेहकाम वगैरह, पर हो नहीं रहा कुछ. Attacks on the security forces have become routine, raising fears of yet another military operation, but वो होगा नहीं. Taking its toll on the civilian population. So Pakistan is in a catch-22 situation. I don't see Pakistan reviving. We all know it. And I don't also see Pakistan getting out of this Pashtun problem. Let me show this small video. Right. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Now let's talk of the, what's happening in the West Asia. पिछले एक हफ्ते से हम देख रहे हैं कि what will Israel do? Now, if you said that Israel's end game, which I gave out that video and about nuclear Iran, everything, after that nothing has happened. Something must happen, isn't it? Nothing has happened. But action is on. It's not as if action is not on. So let us see what this action is and how intense it is. You must be thinking Israel will go and hit Iran by plane, all that. It's not going to happen. I said this when I did the last analysis. Ki jaldbazi mein hoga nahi. First, Israel has to get balance around itself, and then it will do something against Iran. But that doesn't mean it will keep quiet against Iran. That's what I wanted to show in this update. Okay. If you look at it, on the left is the map of Gaza. Now here, again, the Hamas has started firing from Jabalia. ये छोटा map है, so I'll make it bigger first. Right. अब देखिए, on the left, they have started firing. So the Israel people had to go back into Gaza. Surround. पहले सोचे थे ना हम कि north को clear कर दिया वगैरह, नहीं. So the Hamas people are still using those tunnels. And they've got a huge armory. So, एक साल हो गया, अभी तक वो वहां से फायर कर रहे हैं. And this is the problem with militancy, insurgency, terrorism, जो भी है. आप एक इलाके को पकड़ लो, उसको छोड़ दोगे तो वापस आ जाएगा. And this is a problem which Israel will continue to face. So, ultimately, there has to be a political solution, which I so far is evading Israel. Right में है वो वेस्ट बैंक का. वेस्ट बैंक में भी एक्शन हो रहा है. ये आज के ये है, आज 15 अक्टूबर 2 o'clock का मैप से ये. जेनिन में भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुआ है इनका, वहां भी एक्शन हो रहा है. ओके. आप ये लेबनान में देखेंगे, ये लेफ्ट वाला में अगर आप देखेंगे तो ये जो छोटे छोटे ब्लू में है ना, यहाँ ये जहां भी मैं पॉइंटर दिखा रहा हूं, ये यहाँ और यहाँ. ओके. इनका जो ग्राउंड ऑफेंसिव है सिर्फ यहां तक हुआ है अभी तक. एक हफ्ता हो गया. इनफैक्ट मेरे ख्याल में 10-15 दिन या वो पेजर अटैक्स के 4 दिन बाद तुरंत उन्होंने शुरू कर दिया था. यहीं तक किया है. बाकी इन्होंने बोला एवैक्यूएशन के लिए जो पीला पीला दिख रहा है इधर, देव सेड कि भाई यहाँ से आप दफा हो जाओ, सबको खाली कर दो. आज बेरूट में भी वो फायरिंग कर रहे हैं. बट एक्चुअल ग्राउंड एडवांस इतना ही है. तो ये जो लड़ाई है लंबा चलेगा. हमें क्लियर होना चाहिए कि इजराइल विल नॉट बी एबल टू मेक हेडवे इजीली. पिछले इसमें मैंने वीडियो दिखाया कि कितने सुरंग वगैरह थे और जहां रोज इनको हथियार निकल रहे हैं वहां. And Israel has got no choice. So will USA stand by Israel is a question mark. And Israel is on a tight timeline. They have to finish all this off कि इससे पहले कि वो प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्ट यानी कि जनवरी फर्स्ट वीक से पहले नया प्रेसिडेंट जब स्थापन हो जाएगा, ट्रम्प आ गया तो चलने देगा, पर ये कमला हारिस आ गया तो she might not stand with Israel. So Israel has got less time, but इनका जो the thing against them is huge. So it's going to be a tough ask for Israel. So it's not easy. Okay. Now you look at the right map. The right map actually tells you the Israel air campaign. And they're bombing all over Lebanon. And they're crossing into Syria whenever they want. A lot of sorties they're doing per day. So at some point of time, they're going to be in difficulty. So when will that happen is to be seen. Yeah, that third batteries, the terminal high altitude defense, high altitude air defense batteries have come. One has been deployed 2 days back, and I think one more is en route. Okay, once that comes, will they undertake an offensive against Iran? We'll see that. Okay. In the meanwhile, Hezbollah has been firing. They fired at Haifa. Yeah, Haifa. They're one of their main ports. And Hezbollah is not keeping quiet. They're firing. So this is going to be a pitched battle. It's not going to be easy. ये हमें सबको पता होना चाहिए. Right. Now, like I said, against Iran, they have started hitting. But they're doing it very smartly. Agar aap, 3 days back, 4 days back, we heard that there was a massive cyber attack on Iran. What they have attacked, no one knows. Those details have not come out, but they have done it. After that, this is the first time ये जो fire हुआ है एक So this, they've hit one oil refinery. It's not by aircraft. No, this thing, it appears to be some car blow, whatever it is, but it is not. Is it sabotage? Highly likely. My view is it is engineered by Iran. Okay, and what's more, if you look at, you see this place is where this thing took place. It's in Khuzestan, which is their main oil fields. They've already hit one oil field now. There's been a cyber attack. They would have got a lot of information. They would have incapacitated many things, and they're making way. This is the way Israel is going to fight. They're not going to fight a big war. They're going to be one by one, they're going to do things. So because their main war is there. Action is there. Here they will do through sabotage and things like that. Maybe one odd strike down the line. But you'll see more of this happening as we go down. Okay. Right. Next interesting thing. The question is the Korean conflict reviving? There's some action there. And again, if you've been watching what's happening in between North Korea and South Korea, for the past about 3-4 years, nothing like this has happened. Korea has fired, North Korea has fired missiles, all that, into sea and across South Korea and all. But this is something they have not done, and that's why I thought, let me put it across to all of you. So what is that? Now look at it from, where people might not understand where Korea is. बहुत लोगों को पता ही नहीं है. ये यहाँ है Korea. North Korea, South Korea. ये North Korea है, ये South Korea है. It's on the northern edge of China. Okay. ये जापान है और ये रशिया है. So all this action is going on between China, Japan, and Russia. And this is Guam, and this is where America is. So this is a critical place in that entire area. That's the first point you should understand. Right. Next, they have this. Actually, North Korea and South Korea are still at war. They've got an armistice, which means they've suspended operations. But the war is not over. So they're still at war. Okay. And that's the 30th parallel. And along the 30th parallel, they have a demilitarized zone. That's about 1 kilometer to 2 kilometers. Either side is demilitarized. Over the years, they've built roads. There were times when, workers from North Korea, ये लोग यहाँ आते थे साउथ कोरिया में काम करने के लिए, और कुछ वक्त तो एक फैक्ट्री लगाया गया था डीमिलिटराइज जोन में, जहाँ नॉर्थ कोरिया के लोग आके काम करते थे, पैसा मिलता था, साउथ कोरिया देता था उनको कुछ. देयर वर थिंग्स हैपनिंग, बट ऑल दैट इज गॉन फॉर अ टॉस. क्यों हुआ? बिकॉज North Korea felt that South Korea had sent some drones and all. They retaliated. But they're very sensitive. Okay, this is the demilitarized zone. अगर आप देखोगे तो, if you have been there and seen this, this is worse than a LC fence. It is stronger than a LC fence. I have seen it, so I could make out. See how it's double fence and electric, सब कुछ है इसमें. Monitoring systems, both sides. Okay, pretty tough. Okay, now what did they do? This is again from the Twitter I took out, but it's interesting. They've blown the road up. They've got 5-6 interconnecting roads. They've blown it up. So all connections severed, and North Korea has got its army ready. It's on, it's deployed its forces. Normally, this is the number of trucks which keep moving up, but now there's nothing there. Right? You'll just see. Just wait. Let this get over in half a minute. I'll take the whole thing further. Okay. Now, yeah. There's one of the crossing points which this thing. So now all that road short is gone. So all relations are cut, and see the way they have blown it up, and this is put out by North Korea. So is the Korean Peninsula going to go back into war? ये अगला सवाल है. अगर ऐसा हुआ, आप चाइना का हालत देखिए. जो नॉर्थ कोरिया और साउथ कोरिया के बीच में लड़ाई हो गया, तो जो होगा होगा. चाइना का हालत देखिए, 3 मैंने दिखाया है. लड़ाई उधर होगा, ताइवान के साथ इनका दिक्कत है, फिलीपींस के साथ यहाँ चल रहा है, साउथ चाइना सी में. तो क्या चाइना आपके पास आएगा इस हालत में? क्या चाइना यहां से निकल के इंडियन ओशन में आएगा तादाद में नफरी के साथ? मुश्किल है. So China is in a difficult position. आप देखिए, China is in a difficult position militarily, China is in a difficult position economically, and China is in a difficult position diplomatically also. Geopolitical tensions तो है ही. उल्टा सोचो, ये क्यों चाइना के लिए प्रॉब्लम है, हमें पता होना चाहिए. The interesting thing is, if नॉर्थ कोरिया और साउथ कोरिया के बीच में अगर लड़ाई हो गया, ठीक है, और नॉर्थ कोरिया हार गया, और या कल के दिन साउथ और नॉर्थ कोरिया इकट्ठे हो गए और पूरा कोरिया बन गया, तो अमेरिकन ट्रूप्स विल बी ऑन द बॉर्डर ऑफ चाइना. ये है. एज इट इज, अमेरिकन ट्रूप्स आर सिटिंग इन सियोल. उनका एक डिव हेडक्वार्टर है सियोल के अंदर. अगर नॉर्थ कोरिया हार गया कल, तो across Yalu you will find democratic forces. That is the worst outcome. It actually puts China in a major problem. That is why I brought this to explain to all of you. Right? So I thought, I'll put across today. It's been a long session. I know, it'll be difficult to grasp the whole thing. So what I'll do is tomorrow I'll chop this into small bits and put it out so that everyone can see 10-15 minutes of each thing. So now I'll take on questions. I'll be patient. I'll take on all your questions. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Now first. Yeah. So Lalit, thanks a lot, sir. Totally agree with your view on investment for China. Chinese touch seems to be blighted. And this is very important. Thanks, Lalit, for not the contribution. Thanks, Sai. Your view. I want to tell everyone what Lalit is. Lalit is an investment advisor in New York. I've known him now for about 4 years. We keep talking. I've never met him. I don't even know how he looks like, but we keep talking and discussing a lot of things. We've spoken also. He goes all over and advises people what to invest, not invest. He has handled Chinese investments also. For someone like him to tell is a very important thing. Understand that. Right? So, no one wants investment from China. Why are we taking it? That's the point. Okay, now let's take as per Pakistani news TV channels reduce the volume when EAM was speaking. ये तब करेंगे ये third rate बंदे. Okay, this is fine, right? Legacy Canada. These people have ill-treated, abused, and killed their own children and brought mass graves. Yeah, that's okay. Let them do. They let them do what they want. We are not interested. Let Canada be whatever it is. Hi, good evening. How are you? Okay. Does the PLA engagement thing is really to be taken serious? China media discussing about possible RIC group in the making and current inflow of investment from China. Yeah, because the Chinese are very serious about it. Some of our people are serious about it. I've heard a Chinese chap say that India has learned a lesson, so now it will start, in trading with us. Why do you think I'm talking of all this? And today, Mrs. Sriparna Patak, she's written a fantastic article on this. And she's in Vietnam. I've told her when she comes back, we'll do a program on this part. China is on a charm offensive with you, but yet, वो पाकिस्तान के पीछे बैठा है. So we should understand. हमारे उद्योगपति जो है, जो ये जो भी कर रहे हैं बेवकूफ लोग, they must understand what they're doing, pushing India into. I'm in Canada. Trudeau is playing vote bank politics, facing opposition and internal party rebellion. Increasingly, most of the Indian Punjabi Sikhs are turning against Trudeau for his toxic nuisance. India, that is Bharat, I completely agree with you. But my problem is not that. वो तो पता है. Trudeau हो या ना हो हमें कुछ लेना देना है. वो most probably he will go out. But the larger issue is what is our macro thing. That is what I am more interested in. The macro issue which I brought out, who are your friends? Who are your enemies? Be clear. Look, no one is your friend, no one is your enemy. All friendships and enemies, enmity is guided by your national interest. At this time, you need USA, you need Russia. Keep them on your side somehow. And jettison Chinese. You can't handle all three. Then USA will get away from it. भाई चादर उतना ही फैलना चाहिए, वो पुराना कहावत है ना. Yeah, US and our relationship will depend on the new tenant of the White House, so we need to be patient. And then, yeah, that's okay. That is a different thing. But US has an institutional memory. We have to be very clear. Thanks a lot. Indian Enforcement Agency must do press conference on criminals in Canada. All that will do. That's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. I'm not worried about that. That's not, look, I hope you understood. My thing is not how we deal with Canada. How we deal with Canada, you go to the Twitter or you go to any channel, they'll be talking of this. Am I right or wrong? I'm right. I'm not interested in that. We'll do it. But I'm more interested in the macro picture of India. That we should not go wrong. What is India shipping to Russia that made the USA upset, prompting them to release their Canadian puppet? Spares. Material for spares. We think we don't know, we have, look, we are a strong country here. You have to understand that what you do has a consequence. Okay, it's not as if people don't know. And you are a porous country, that's the problem. कि you ऐसे नहीं है कि चाइना की तरह you can छुपा सकते हो जो भी करना चाहते हो, नहीं होगा. Okay, so you have to be very clear as to what you're doing and when you're doing and how you're doing. Okay. Yeah, Jayant, long time. Namaskaram. Yeah, Karl Rao has also come after a long time. What is new technology and advancement in the field of sensor shooter loop in respect to armed forces? I'll take this question on later, Karl Rao. I'll talk of this because there are certain things coming. For example, today we are talking of hemispherical resonance gyros. That's the latest, and actually we are getting after that. Maybe someday I'll talk of this in detail. I'll talk of technology in detail. Yes, Trudeau is playing for vote bank, obfuscate the PRC influence. Yeah, however, he is okay. Yeah, the Canadian leader opposition stood firm with the government on this matter. Why can't we expect the same from our opposition? That is because you fought with the opposition. You have to take the opposition along at some point of time. Have you done the outreach to the thing? I mean, look, this is internal politics. And we are bad at it. Yeah, same thing. You repeating it. What is North Korea trying to convey by destroying border infrastructure and moving artillery to the south? They'll start firing on Korea. As simple as that. As simple as that. You see, if you go from the demilitarized zone, Seoul, outskirts of Seoul, are within artillery range of North Korea. So if the chap does non-contact firing, right, what do you do? In fact, I wrote an article about 4 years back or 5 years back in National Interest, and then analyzed what North Korean artillery can do against South Korea and a lot of thing against Seoul. Have a look at it. You can do a lot of damage. It's not Shakti Pradarshan. It might be something more. Okay. To an extent, you're right. I'm not saying no to it. But the thing is, what happens if the red line is crossed? I'm looking at that. जो भाषा कौन सी बोले रहे एक दूसरे yeah PRC versus ROC, this is a classic case of a family feud. Han Chinese versus Han Chinese. Yeah, that's okay, but are the Chinese forces ready? That, you see, the problem for Chinese is very I told you, intricate. Please remember that many of their young men have zero marriage prospects. I agree with you. Amal. So Canada, US, and US have shown that they just don't want to end this issue. Otherwise, why would they start blaming top diplomats and home minister? I agree with you. This is one simple. They want USA is got this opportunity. It wants to reign in India. As simple as that. It's uncomfortable. India going to look. The whole story is that thing which I showed. If you can understand that, I think you have, let me get that back. Just a minute. Yeah. The whole story is this. You look at this. USA doesn't like Russia or China, and you're trying to get close to them. Will you keep quiet? What kind of a strategic partnership is this? So this is the issue. Keep this in focus. Well, handling Trudeau is not a big deal for me. Okay, and they will start blaming. NSA and Home Minister are just pegs. कि भाई दबा दो इनको. Government के ऊपर pressure आ रहा है. That's the point. Logical conclusion of this issue is the prosecution of low level. That's all fine. That's your view, right? 80 million houses. Yes, that's how they're. Yeah, you had the opportunity to work with General Arun Kumar Vaidya. He was from my school, which is named in his honor. Yeah, I was a young officer when he was the chief. So I really don't know him personally. I was just a captain when he passed away. So, but I knew him as a chief. He was a chief after all. But a good man. Yeah. CPC based on communist ideology adopted capitalism rooted in John Maynard Keynes economics. Thus, a periodic boom to bust every 10 years is a default condition. No, it's not. They are not following John Maynard Keynes. They are following the communist principle. They are following the Leninist Marxist economy. Please understand that. Marxist model. Sir, went for my second SSB. I got conferenced out yesterday. Feel I did well except for in progressive group task. Where would I be going wrong? Even after introspection, can't find any. Sam, don't bother. If you shouldn't, I think, pursue this line. Don't reinforce failure. If you're not able to get through, look for something else in life. Life has got a lot of opportunity. So don't worry about it. Okay? Look at the positive. अगर एक door दरवाजा बंद हो गया तो दूसरा खुलेगा. That's what my advice to you is. So don't bother beyond a point. Why has China suddenly raised the heat so much vis-a-vis Taiwan? They can't help it. If Lai Ching-te says you're not my boss, China will react. It is part of cognitive warfare. It is also cognitive warfare on their own people to make people believe, oh, we can do all this. They have to. It's a balancing thing. It's two-sided. What you said is right. Can India or any other country turn in such high level of? Yeah, you can. You can against Canada. What stops you? Okay, ask Canada का क्या रोग उपचार है विज़ावी भारत का क्या व्यवहार कब तक सहन करेगा कनाडा का? Well, look, I think सहनशीलता is over with Canada. It's time to act. What we have to act, like I said, you can make it a country of concern for terror havens or separatist havens. Okay, so you can move a UN resolution against Canada. So a lot of things can be done. So we'll leave that out at this point of time. Yeah, I have some concerns with the pace of Indian equipment acquisition by army. I am sure there are problems, but don't you think the pace needs to be faster? I completely agree with you. That's why I said if you're not strong, you're not fast, you're not well equipped, you can't be strong. There's no Vishwabandhu business. Vishwabandhu, Vishwaguru, all हवा की बातें हैं. ठीक है, ये थर्ड टर्म में आ गए मोदी जी. ही शुड बी वेरी क्लियर कि those talks don't impress anyone. We have to on ground क्या है वो देखो. I'll still say you can't blame just Mr. Modi. What about his ministers? What about the bureaucracy? Has he? If he gets the blame, he has not been able to put the team together. But at the same time, are our armed forces strong enough to defend the country? Yes, that I'm not bothered. That I'm not bothered at all. Armed forces will sort out anyone who comes to, do anything, and we'll do a lot of things. We are still capable. But if you want to be a power where no one talks to you, you need to have more dum. Yeah, hope you'll do a show on India-Canada relations. Should India weekly wait till overseas group succeeded in triggering violent insurgency in India? What happened? Look, India-Canada relations will. You go to so many people, they'll tell you everything about it. I'll come back to India-Canada relations when there is some definite. Abhi to garmi hai. That's why I chose not to get involved with that, in that heat. I'm looking at something else, which is the bigger issue. Yeah. Except difference of scale, India is surrounded by unfriendly, hostile, envious neighbors like Israel. No, I don't agree with you. Except Pakistan and China. Your others are not, what shall I say? They are episodic. See, 1 year back, Maldives and Sri Lanka, we were not, but doubtful. But today they're good friends. Sometime back, Afghanistan was not your good friend. Today, he's your good friend. At least he wants you. You might not be his friend, but you're dealing with him well. He wants you to come with investment, do a lot of things which no one was doing earlier. Bhutan is okay. Nepal, these are episodic things. There, you can't. The relationship between Israel and his surroundings and us are far different. I'll take take new guys, right? Who coming into the thing. Your analysis is lucid. Please share them with our policy makers. Are they listening? They listen. Don't worry. They go. I might not get views, but people listen, and sensible people listen. I make a difference. Don't worry. North Korea isn't as big as South Korea. It was to come out if they have China's support. So that's the point. At this point of time, they have some support from China. They have support from Russia. Remember that. They are giving ammunition to Russia. That's why the confidence North Korea is showing. Okay. And he's got some nuclear weapons. वो कुछ भी बोलेगा तो nuclear weapon निकाल लेगा. What is the likely to be the position of settlement, equilibrium, peace, tranquility in the world? At this point of time, mathematically zero. Thanks a lot. I hope I made it interesting. China has been and is always lays golden eggs for USA. Would they kill it? No, they'll not kill it, but they'll tie it up. That's what is happening. Yeah, I've heard about your thoughts on strategic patience. At what circumstances can we take any action? What are our priorities amongst various issues like borders, Bangladesh, IMEC, etc.? Well, it's very clear. First, priority is safety, security, and integrity of the country, sovereignty and integrity of the country. Second, protect your waters. Third, protect your diaspora who are all around. Okay. Fourth, your neighbors, and then everything else. Very clear. IMEC, and all is later in the story. I have never had doubted that. And with more wars, unrest, we have challenges to grow economy as well. What are strategies you suggest to grow economy in this environment? I've done so many shows on this. You should not get involved with any fight. If you don't get involved with any fight, if you are able to handle things by maintaining a neutral stance and grow on your own, then everyone will have to come to you. See, why are we in this problem? Also understand. US wants you, Russia wants you, China wants you. So how do you balance it out? And Gulf wants you, the West wants you, the Southeast Asians want you to hedge against China. Your neighbors want you. They might be against you to talk. Everyone wants you because you give stability to people. You give hope of economy. Your economy is growing. You have to be selective in what you're doing. Are we selective? That's the problem. We are not being selective, and that's why USA is reacting. Yeah, I agree with you. Niger was on a no-fly list, and he was on more. But my view is, this is my personal view. Niger is an asset of the CIA. Niger and this Panun also must be an asset of the CIA. I have no doubt about it. If you go to US, you'll understand what I'm talking. Go to California, you'll understand. Okay. In the light of Russia-Ukraine war and likelihood of a war between India and China, there's no likelihood of war between India and China. The likelihood of a war will come ahead, not the way you're thinking like Russia-Ukraine. India-China war will be different. See that episode again. We will not need Russia for that. We'll not need anyone. We'll have to handle it. Stop thinking that you need outside support for the kind of war which will happen with China. You don't need anyone. You will not get the time to need anyone. You have to do it on your own. You have to execute a plan on automatically the moment you try something. Like something which happened in Yangtze. Yeah, is there a need for peace game? Yeah, I think so. I think that's a very valid thing. What will happen if kinetic action breaks out at DMZ? How big a geopolitical turmoil will it be, and what will it spiral out of? I told you, what is the turmoil? The moment the Korean Peninsula goes, नॉर्थ में रशिया है, ईस्ट में चाइना है, साउथ में जापान है और उसके साउथ में यूएस है, सारे लपेट में आ जाएंगे. That will be the biggest flashpoint. Then everyone will forget about everything and go there. And that follows nuclear. And I told you that, you see, as it is, there are 4 nuclear powers there. You're talking of China, Russia, North Korea, and USA. It's a very tricky situation. That's why I brought that in today. How can we make ourselves strong and plug the fault lines so that others don't use them? Well, look, politics. We are good politics. Focus on growth. Focus on making your army strong. I don't understand why we can't give at least 2% of our defense budget to the army. You are now at 1.8 or 1.9. I'm not saying for 1. You need about 2.5 to grow strong. For macro picture, shouldn't we no longer see friends and foes in terms of whole nations, but rather than terms of ideological factions and political parties? That isn't speaking only of full nations too rigid. Well, is there any second choice in China? Is there any second choice in Pakistan? बाकियों के लिए I agree with what you're saying. इन दोनों के लिए क्या करोगे? Manoj fan? Sir, the solution is to give up our strategic autonomy and become another muted. But no, you can't. That you're not. That you'll never be. Even now, I am very clear that we will get away with it. But what I'm trying to say is your position will become stronger if you focus on those things which I put out in that slide. Okay, if you want, I'll show it again. Yeah, I'll show that. If you can focus on these issues, then you're okay. Otherwise, you're in trouble always. Focus has to change. Okay. Okay. I think this is the political issue Hindus of Canada need to understand politically, like what Khalistan made lobby, Muslim made lobby. Hindus must do, we must see this differently. I agree with you. That's a land where lobbying chalta hai and is acceptable. We need to do it. Look, it'll take some time. For the simple reason, we we've never been friends with USA. And it's only now that we have started becoming friends with USA and lobbies have started to be built. So it'll happen, right? But you're right. And now the Indian community is becoming a politically active community in USA. So that will have its own ripple effect. So I am sanguine about the future. It's how you handle now. Had Sir had heard that Trudeau has connection to the CCP, I don't think so. Yeah. What will be the implications of if India completely cut off its relations with Canada? You can't do that. I mean, let's not talk of things which cannot happen. A lot of people are there. People of Indian origin are settled in Canada. They come here, people go. There's an exchange of people. They have interest here. We have interest there. So it can't happen. Even now, trade will go on. They also have their own opposition, which will come in. उनका अगर politics खत्म हो गया तो things will change and things will change. You have to be patient in this. Strategic patience is important. Okay. Oh, thanks a lot, Debashis. I'll take. Let me take a question from someone who has not. Yeah, that's the end of the story. Okay, then let me take a couple of more questions and then finish it off. Will there be any escalation of Canada incident with 15,000 crore drug seized by India? It's an open secret that CIA agent get income from. Escalation with Canada is not a big deal for me. अभी हो भी है ना हो भी चलेगा. Okay, don't worry about it. Other things are more important. What I've told you. See, a country like India, we want to be a global power. You have to think big. Yesterday, if you people remember, those of you who were there, I said tomorrow I'm not going to do Indian Ocean region. I'm going to do something else. Because yesterday, by the halfway through the thing itself, all these things started falling in my mind. That I need to open out the discussion. See, you go to some talks, you go to some dialogues, you go to some, some other chaps who do on defense, all that. They'll talk sweetly, they'll talk everything, they'll give you, oh, क्या करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए, मारो, काटो, पीटो, ये करो, सब कुछ. But I'm not made that way. I want you to get the big picture. You are in a position where you have a major war going on in Iran. Every day, Iran and Israel. Every day you are expecting something to happen. It's not going to happen. How do you understand that if I didn't tell you that? Okay. What's happening in China? I've given you 3 facets of China today. What's happening in Pakistan? What's happening in Korea? What are the implications on China? What's the implication of China and Pakistan? Actually, if you understood the underpinning of my talk is all China. Whether it's against Pakistan, SCO meet in Pakistan, or his economy, or Taiwan, or Korea. I've touched 4 points of China. Where will you get this? If you watch all this, fine. Tomorrow I'm going to cut each of this and put it out. That's minute ka. View shoes mil jayenge mere ko. That's all fine. But this overview who will give you? Okay, that's the point. What you get from here is value. You don't get tamasha. And of course, I will take all questions and all. I am patient. Whether you get a super sticker or not, I still take. Because it's important that we communicate. Thanks. Today's open hour is informative, but I'm going to do Indian Ocean on Sunday. Join in. And that also will be an open hour. And many things which today we are discussing will come in the Indian Ocean, but in a different form. That's a beautiful presentation I've made. Actually, I hope all the officers who are appearing for the Defense Services Staff College see that and this. They'll get a broader view to handle difficult things. Oh, thanks a lot, Venki. Honored that you. Okay. Do we have a mule print of a world at peace blueprint? Okay, with each other when we preach again, we don't have. Let's be very clear. We don't have. We don't have. You can have it if you have the capability of doing many things. You don't have the capability. That's the problem. If you have the diplomatic heft will come from economic heft. People have internal strength and military capability, which you don't have. Because the politics are divided. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, sir. I think you are correct. In building internal capacity is the key. Yeah. So far, one of the reasons why China grew the way it grew is it developed internal strength. You might disagree with that strength, but they grew it that way. And that's how it made them strong. And this is a feature of Chinese history. Whenever they were strong, they were externally strong. When they failed internally, they collapsed. But that's equally strong for us also. I mean, equally correct for or equally applicable to us also. Only thing is, we don't recognize it in that historic manner. We are trying to revive something which is not the right thing. Look, I have a very clear idea. There's a difference between India, Hinduism, Hindutva, secularism. The pinnacle is India. It's not secularism. It's not Hinduism. It's not Hindutva. It's India. There's a difference between these four terms. I believe in India. Right? So, of course, this is a Hindu nation because 80% are Hindu. They're not getting away. Why are you getting worried that someone will come and take over all of you? Nothing will happen. You behave well with them, with all the other minorities, they'll behave well with you. Can you get that ethos? Can you get that the strength of Hinduism to push India up? Okay, that is the more important thing in the way I look at things. Because I have commanded Hindu troops, I've also commanded Muslim troops. I've also commanded Christian troops. I've also commanded Buddhist troops. You can't ignore them. In the last major event which I did was a reunion of the Regiment of Artillery. That was in 2015. Before that, I went to a masjid, I went to a gurdwara, I went to a mosque, and I went to a temple and prayed for everyone. And then started the reunion. Because I was the head of the artillery. I spent half an hour with each priest. And in fact, one day I'll show the pictures also to all of you. You have to think of India, which is, anyway, that's a different story. Okay, thanks a lot for all of you. Tomorrow we're going to discuss something more interesting. Indus Water Treaty. General KJ Singh has done a lot of research on it, so he'll come tomorrow. And especially because we've asked for change in the Indus Water Treaty. We've said it should be renegotiated. So let's ask him tomorrow. Come back and ask him, because the Canada chalta rahega, don't worry. But Indus Water Treaty, no one will tell you the way he tells. Okay, so he's a master at it. So come back tomorrow. Till then, thank you and good evening. And Jai Hind.